The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply. USAA.
You guys missed it. I didn't record the pre-show, but Robert just tried to shake me down for money.
You say this every week. Not the money shakedown, but you just missed this dazzling conversation Robert and I just had.
It was dazzling.
And complain about technical issues.
Here we are with another episode of RulaskaThoughts. I'm very curious to hear what we talk about today. I'm sure, Robert, look, Jay Ellis and I have the same thing. Robert and I have the same thing. There's no problem filling time with conversation.
Oh, we'll talk about whatever.
Yeah. The problem is, not the problem, we'll see how much of this conversation is actually about the episode. I will make sure for at least right after the break, it starts off about the episode. But for now, let's bring in my podcasting mistress, Robert Mata. Hello, Robert. How are you?
Am I a concubine?
Yes.
It's fierce, thank God. I've always wanted to be one. Also, on a similar thought, I wasn't shaking you down for money. I was merely stating that where did my $150 for this microphone that I'm speaking into that I paid up front for? I've never been reimbursed. 3 years later,
and we're
I've been
gonna
doing
air this laundry out here. But what we're talking about is
well, you're gonna make it sound like I'm broke asking for money to co-host. That's not the case.
No. But this person doesn't listen, so I'm still not gonna say this person. Yeah. But this person was given. This person was given 4 times that amount, and he couldn't even give you a quarter of it.
I saw him spend it all at a Lady Gaga concert this weekend.
Oh, I know. I saw that Bernie Sanders was there, at least Friday night.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I wonder what Christian thought about Bernie Sanders coming out. Do you think he was even there? Do you think?
Knowing Coachella, having been a couple of times myself, I doubt most people even understood what was going on. Not because they're unaware of who Bernie Sanders is, but only because everyone's in their own main character world and not necessarily really paying attention to what's going on stage. So they probably didn't realize that the music shifted to a strange, gravelly old man talking about whatever.
I'll be honest with you. I've never been to this Coachella. I have zero desire to go. Zero.
It's a fun time. Sometimes.
No,
every once in a
awful.
long while.
It sounds awful. I saw that the lines were horrible to get in.
Yeah.
The traffic in and out, the sleeping in a tent, and I don't know how the showers or bathrooms even work.
I actually love the campground component of it.
Yeah, and also forget all that. Let's say I was down for that. Let's say I had some sort of like luxury accommodations, right?
Sure.
The people who go to this thing, I would want to murder every single one. I would be on the phone to Al Qaeda saying, "Hey, I got a location for you."
How is that any different from just living in Los Angeles?
Well, no, I'm lucky I can just hide from it in Los Angeles. But if I went to Coachella, yeah, because that's basically the thing. Everyone should know here. The joke, and the similar is true in the Bay Area for Burning Man. But the joke in Los Angeles is during Coachella, like you can go out and do things and it's not crowded.
The water's running clear. The streets are empty. The crops
LA
are watered.
Is better because all the shitty people have left. And like I said, that's the same joke in the Bay Area for Burning Man. Kind of in Los Angeles too. But this Coachella sounds horrible. But so what did you do this past weekend? You recently did hard launch your boyfriend.
I did.
Yes.
He had hard launched me like a week before, and I thought my silence was deafening, I think. He didn't say anything, but I thought it would be appropriate for me to not post on the grid because I haven't done that since the Stone Age, but at least post a story about it.
I will say I want to meet him, and I'll tell you why I want to meet him. It's not for the usual reasons why I want to meet the significant other of a friend. I want to meet him, and I've made this joke before, because I feel every description you've ever given to me of him is framed in things he does not like.
Because that's how he's come up.
So I've never heard like, oh, Nick really enjoys Italian food, or Nick really enjoys this movie. Oh no, I do know he likes the television show Cheers.
Which, funnily enough, we were just at Frank and Sons he wanted to take me on a date to this massive Costco-sized memorabilia disaster in Puente Hills. Yes.
Robert, this is what I'm talking about. That's a perfect time you could have met. I live like not even a 10-minute drive from there.
Well, I didn't know that. Okay. And secondly, he took me there not as a surprise, but he didn't want me to look it up beforehand. But I was like, bitch, I'm a nerd enough to know what that is. Granted, also we had planned to do it after going to see a screening of Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind at the Academy.
So you drove all the way from Mid City to this place. It's in like City of Industry or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Precisely. And had a big nerd day about it all. And when we were at Frank and Sons, which for those listening who don't know, it's just, like I said, a Costco-sized collection of vendors who are selling mostly Pokemon cards, but virtually any kind of nerd fandom memorabilia you could want. And he stumbled upon this box set of Cheers trading cards. He had a fucking cow. He was so thrilled about it. They had signatures on some of the cards. He got upsold on this like $50 binder that had this bootsy ass printout of the Cheers cast. It was a whole to do. And meanwhile, I'm like clutching this like 12-pack of Jurassic Park trading cards that I want, while he and the shopkeeper definitely took advantage of his fandom for sure there. But yeah, so he loves Cheers. Granted, like I said, because it was a part of his professional development, because his gay and writing mentor was a showrunner on the later seasons. So
I strangely never been to Frank and Sons. It sounds horrible.
There are way too many people there, and they very much appreciate, or rather emulate, the lack of personal space that I felt at most busy places in Tokyo. Quite honestly, like you can't be looking at anything without people sidling in right next to you and breathing on you. Get off my dick.
This is Robert's dog whistle saying there were a lot of Asian people there.
No, there actually were mostly Mexican people there.
Oh, I could see that too. Yeah. So your people were there.
Yeah, I don't need to dog whistle. I'll just scream it out loud.
Yeah. So, I want to hear what he likes.
Well, he's very passionate about all types of things. All my friends who have met him so far, which I think are only 2 actually, they've all said that it is no surprise that we have taken interest in each other, because we're both a little bit very opinionated and very stubborn and we go on. He'll do sea creature rants about all kinds of things all the time.
Interesting. Like, what are some of the things he's passionate about?
Very niche television shows that I've never heard of that I guess you guys can go back and forth on and diva gab about. Niche JRPGs. Like, I'm into random cultural tidbits. He's 8 years older than I am, so like we have a different set of references. So I have to for instance, he still cannot grasp what the concept of boots means. And we've looked into it etymologically, like, why exactly does boots mean boots? Like, why did we choose the word boots? And the internet simply won't give us an answer. So if anyone knows, I know what it means. I know how it's evolved. I think it makes sense. But why did we choose the word boots? I came up with the reason, but I wonder if it's the same one.
I have a theory.
Yeah, what's your theory?
My theory is because they take wig, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to relate to it. When, that iconic cringe moment when the little fat gay boy on American Idol said wig, and Katy Perry was like, yeah, I get it, And I feel that the gays, things shortened, right? Like so it went from I flipped my wig to just wig.
Yes, I think we're on similar thought processes.
So I would think that boots, and I don't have the version of this, but I would say like it was covered head to toe, toe becoming, something, then somehow evolving to boots, and then it became boots.
Interesting. I think we're close, but not twins. I
Okay.
was thinking it was more like it came from a concept or the phrase of saying, well, I don't know, today I'm feeling really happy boots, or look, she's really sad boots, or whatever.
Okay.
The concept being that that's the persona that you're embodying, and therefore later it just became a modifier to where everything is blank boots.
I guess I'm taking boots because I'm coupling it with the house down boots.
Yes. I think that's later in the life cycle of the term. But I don't know. And again, the internet, it'll just say, oh, it comes from Paris is burning. And I'm like, great. That didn't invent or create all of the terminology used inside. And then it will reference like sibling rivalry. And it's just like, anyone who tries to look this up, please let me know. Because I want to know, again, why boots? Why not sandals?
Like what it does, the internet itself is begging the question.
Yes.
And we want the
Which
record
you
to
love.
show.
Oh, grammar queen.
It's not raising the question.
Luke, put the keyboard down, girl.
Yeah, Luke, put the fucking. I hate when Joe says begging the question. Okay.
Stop fighting with your girls.
All this to say that this Luke will go on and on, right?
So will you.
By the way, John Paul's calling.
Also, is it
beloved?
beloved or beloved?
I don't know. Hold on. Let's see what John Paul
I thought
wants.
beloved was just a fun stylization of beloved.
Hello.
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 Who the fuck is that?
I am in the middle of Coachella traffic.
Oh, you're coming to LA in the middle of Coachella traffic?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wait. I have to take this.
Okay. I'll call you later. Bye.
Wow. Well, I don't know Luke well enough to know, but I do know your tone in texts and messages, and they do always come off harsher than how I know you'd say it, you know?
Mm-hmm. I don't know what you're talking about. I really don't.
Because you just sound more blunt and snippy in text form than you do in person.
Oh, how interesting.
I've told you that for years, though.
One of the ways you can find, one of the hallmarks of a growing friendship with me is the person will always, this is just one of the rituals that we have to go through, is that they get closer to somebody, they'll eventually say to me, like, can I tell you something? And I'll be like, yeah. I've noticed something about you. And I'm like, okay, I already know what's coming. I'd be like, when you get off the phone, you're really fast to get off the phone. It's almost kind of rude.
Oh, I don't feel that way.
But then they go, so they'll say that we'll talk about it. I go, hear this all the time. And then I tell them what I'm going to tell you. And I go, this is the way everybody is. And then I go, and then once they've gotten used to it and they realize that's just the way I say goodbye, they actually then say they appreciate it because there's not that long withdrawn,
all right.
Well, all right. So like, what's funny is I don't think of it as it's nothing I do on purpose. I just think I'm saying bye. But the way that
I do the same thing. I'm like,
yeah,
okay,
the way people describe it is that they're going like, okay, I go, all right, bye, and I just hang up.
Usually the other person does wait to hear goodbye from the other person. Once goodbye has been said by both parties, then you can hang up the phone.
I don't have that kind of time. I don't have that kind of time.
Speaking of, did you notice that underneath your name it says Joe, memory care unit?
Oh, yeah, because on the T, we learned at some point, this isn't before the show, that we could change
Our titles.
our title. Can you change your title?
I'm not going to fiddle with it right now. I feel like my whole laptop's just one light touch away from disaster.
Yeah, I just changed it for you. Anyway, it says
fully
contrarian.
agree.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Ha ha ha. All right, guys, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to attempt to mine something out of this episode. We'll be back right after this.
This episode is brought to you by the Toyota Grand Highlander. From daily routines to life-changing adventures, the Toyota Grand Highlander is spacious, powerful, and ready to take on life's grand challenges. Advanced safety features and innovative technology give you confidence for whatever life throws at you. And it's available in a hybrid Nightshade Special Edition, which includes sophisticated gloss black exterior accents and 20-inch black alloy wheels. Learn more at toyota.com/Grand Highlander. Toyota, let's go places.
I think you're on mute.
Workday starting to sound the same?
I think you're on mute.
Find something that sounds better for your career on LinkedIn. With LinkedIn Job Collections, you can browse curated collections by relevant industries and benefits, like flex PTO or hybrid workplaces, so you can find the right job for you. Get started at linkedin.com/jobs. Finding where you fit. LinkedIn knows how.
Spring is here, and you can now get almost anything you need for your sunny days delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a well-groomed lawn delivered, but you can get a chicken parmesan delivered. A cabana? That's a no. But a banana? That's a yes. A nice tan? Sorry, nope. But a box fan? Happily, yes. A day of sunshine? No. A box of fine wines? Yes. Uber Eats can definitely get you that. Get almost anything delivered with Uber Eats. Order now. Alcohol in select markets. Product availability may vary by region. See app for details.
And we are back. On a recent episode, I believe it was Just Between Us Girls. It might have been the recap show. I don't remember. I lifted up my shirt to show Nathan that my man boobs were what I would consider, like, in terms of flat-chested to Mama Jammas, to being a 10. Mama Jammas being a 10, 0 being completely flat-chested. That I am in the, I don't know, what did I say?
3 to 4.
3 to 4 range. I wouldn't
That's
say
why
I'm
I
gonna
made
change
that joke in your
bio.
I'm
I'm gonna change a 0 being flat chest. I'm gonna be like, I don't know, shapeless chest. Not really flat chest. It's just shapeless. Doesn't go to the gym. Amorphous blob of a chest, right? But I'm also a fat person, and I even said, like, I don't have the boobs don't drip, but I do have fat on the side. Okay, this is all coming to a point, which is
I was going to ask.
Earlier in the show, I was leaning back in my chair. My camera was at a different angle. And I could tell that my right boob just looked very right? So I changed the camera position and I changed and everything. But I just wanted to call the moment. I want everyone to know this.
Okay, good for you.
Thank you.
Now you have pecs instead of boobs.
I don't have pecs, but I did adjust the camera so like I don't really see my own chest. I'm sure we're all harder on each other than on ourselves than people are on us. Anyway, Robert, this is all a transition to say, speaking of sagging, what did you think of this? Actually, I really like this episode of this lip sync Lollapalooza.
Well, I'll kick it off with something thematically linked. I spent the entire first and second lip syncs that featured Lucky Stars waiting for her to rip off her damn basketball titties and start dribbling them. Why did that never happen?
Because you're giving Lucky Stars too much credit. She doesn't extend the idea. She goes with the first idea. Your boyfriend might be aware of this UCB concept of the Herald.
Perhaps so.
Which is, so like the audience gives a suggestion, right? And then one of the people, whenever they think of something in the group, on the improv group, will say something, but then it keeps going. People then take that word and make a chain to make a chain to make a chain.
Yes.
Until someone
Even
gets
I know
the
this.
idea. Yeah, until someone gets the idea to start the scene. Lucky Stars. Someone shouts a suggestion. She's like, okay. She just goes with that's the end.
And that's it.
So she doesn't extend it.
That is unfortunately the case with her drag, is that I think we all expected a little bit more than the Fruit Gusher commercial looks that Nina Bonina Brown also did. But I do think the concept stops there. It stops at the headpiece.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be so shady to her because, I don't hold,
I do.
Ill will towards her. But regardless, the episode as a whole, I did end up watching it in public like I thought I would last week. And it was interesting to see how LA's attitudes, or at least West Hollywood High Tops' attitudes, have changed towards the queens throughout the season. I think if we had heard Slasian Diva at the beginning, like episode 3 or 4, when the Joella hype was high, the crowd would have lived. But when she introduced herself as the Slasian Diva of LA, crickets, bitch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was almost as quiet as when someone asked if we were Team Sam Star.
Did someone ask us of us?
Just out on the bars, you know, when the queen hosts things you know. And granted, actually, there isn't a queen who hosts at High Tops, which is nice because you don't have fucking, I don't know, like Vanjie screaming in your ear for the whole hour and a half, which is you know, sorry Mickey's, but not who I would pick. But I heard it when I'm walking down the boulevard, you know, strutting my stuff. Hey. I heard the various queens screaming out to the audience, and you know, silence for Sam Star, who, interesting enough, had a stank face on this whole fucking episode. She was in some type of mood. Nothing but bad
probably
things
because she
to
realizes from the edit that she's not going to win.
Maybe so. You know, maybe it was very much. We were talking. You referenced the season 9 reunion during the recap, and you remember how very unlike herself Shea Coulee was.
Oh yeah, because at the time. They used to, people might not know this. There was a time during when they were filming those reunions, they would film the reunion the next day after they had, after they had filmed the finale. The reunions were filmed after the finale. So Shea Coulee already knew that she had lost.
And that's what made her a lot more incendiary in talking with Valentina and everyone else. She was honestly probably a lot more true to her real personality than the character she was trying to present on the show, you know. But I don't know. Maybe it's the same case. I don't know how it was filmed this year. I wanted to go to the live finale if they were having it because, you know, I missed the Oscar night of drag. It was a bunch of silly, stupid camp shit. Yes, I'd have to pee for 5 hours, but whatever, you know. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Sam already knew that she was out of the running, and that's why she was just not good energy.
I'm with you in that I'm sad that I haven't been able to go to a finale since like pre-COVID. I think season 12 was the last time I went. No, 11. Evie's.
Yeah.
Was the
Edge
last one I went to. Edge of Glory, yes. And then since then, it's been either not happening or whatever reason, Vegas or something. And, but I do understand from a production point of view and budgets and stuff like that, why they don't do it. Where they're like, well, why? Why would we do this?
I think it legitimized the whole show, to be honest with you. And I think next week's going to feel hollow and empty the way last year did. The way, honestly, these lip sync felt hollow and empty in a room of no one but a mildly enthused Bruno.
I don't know why they don't do a Survivor type thing. And what I mean is, and this could be interesting, which is, you know, you show 3/4 of a pre-tape finale. And then when you cut back to the actual crowning, it's live. And we see the crowning live in a packed
Very
theater.
difficult. They simply do not have the professionalism.
But they could. I mean, they do it. I could see when they were in Logo or even VH1, but they're at MTV. I mean, they're right there. It's not like it's impossible.
You're right. It's not impossible. But again, I think now your point of them asking why.
No, you're right. And I'm not even saying rent out a theater. I'm saying do it at Television City, you know, or, you know, a place that could sort of handle that more, you know.
Sure.
And I think even with Survivor wasn't at a theater. It was like in a soundstage, right? It was that they just brought an audience in for.
True. I just think that the production of live events like that, even Netflix keeps bungling it, and they have, you know, some of the top talent in the city. So it's I would not want to open that Pandora's box, can of worms.
Well, that's what
whatever.
My point is, I guess maybe my point was missed as well. Is they're at a point where they're like, well, we could either have it completely out of in control that we do the way we do it, or we can do it live, which I don't like for the reasons you said. Was, do we really want to do that? Right? Do we really want to do it live, or can we just? Because now it's like we do it at a theater with an audience. Or we just do it in a soundstage and it's done. And it's totally in our control. There's no variables. It's totally easy to do. And we know how to do it on the set we already built. The end. You know? We don't have to wrangle an audience. We don't have to do any of that stuff. And also, here's the deal, guys, too. I'll tell you the main reason, actually. Even though there was a solution to this, but even so, the audience, I think itself kind of ruined it, because no matter how much World of Wonder tried, people were taking their phones in, filming the things, posting them on a Reddit immediately. When I went to the season 10 finale, Evan and I followed the rules and we turned our fucking phones off, right? And when we walked out, when we turned our phone on, there were just 100 pings from people on Discord pinging us. They already knew about the butterflies. They already knew about this. They knew everything. And we walked out of the theater. So, yeah, maybe that's the reason. They're like, why? We can just now keep it totally in control. No one knows what's going to happen.
I will say that I'm coming from a perspective where I don't give a fuck about spoilers. I actually prefer to hear them because I'm not left wondering and thinking and theorizing. And I can just enjoy the journey to whatever end we're getting towards. So I've never understood companies' supposed fascination with spending money and changing formats to hide spoilers from a ravenous audience who's going to do whatever they can to get whatever tidbits they can regardless. I don't think keeping everyone in the dark about what the lip sync song is going to be for the final two is worth losing the entire finale format that brought us a lot of joy from seasons 4 through 12.
But it's for the same reason you just said. You've answered your own question.
But my question is that it's not even a question. It's my statement to think that it just doesn't matter. The super involved people are going to find out one way or another. It's not worth the money because having a spoiled corner of the internet who's hyper locked into all of this, the super, super, super fans, that doesn't impact the vast majority of your casual audience who does consume this.
I know what you're saying, but what I'm saying is and I've tried to explain this to before, is we have a very vociferous part of the community, but it's very tiny, And so I think what you're saying is the number of people, but I know I'm going to take a little bit of a different angle of what you're saying. I'm going to take a different approach, which is
okay.
The number of people who actually look up the spoilers, read the spoilers, are invested in the spoilers, know about the spoilers. All of that world, as much as you guys won't find this hard to believe, is infinitesimal to the number of people who watch this show. And
exactly.
I'm throwing a ballpark number out here, but I'm going to say 85% of the audience turns the show on, watches it, turns it off, and doesn't think about it for a week. Okay? And I think for the very reason, Robert, you're saying is, and it's even more important because the reason I think you missed the live finale, the same reason I missed the live finale, because we like going to the live finale, right?
I like the environment, the vibe, the pageantry.
Yeah.
The affair.
But going back to this, what percentage of the audience really cares?
Very few. Most people are going to watch this with their friends at a viewing, and that's the last they'll ever think about it for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
So it's not this sacred thing that needs to be protected at all costs, from spoiler toxicity. It just doesn't. I just don't think it's worth it.
So when you think about the multinational evil media conglomerate that is World of Wonder, why would they spend the capital on something people don't really care about? They have to rent the fucking theater. They have to do the logistics. They have to do the this and the that and the bubba, the bubba, the bubba, the bubba, the bubba. Right? Why? We could just do it in a soundstage. Be done.
I just don't think that
I agree
the
with you,
Wizard
by the
that
way.
there
I like
is
the
or
finales.
was finds it so big of a deal that there are spoilers that they would change the whole format. I think it's not sensible. Cross benefit
I
analysis,
don't
qualitative
know.
versus quantitative factuals of it. It's just the math that's going on in my head. It simply does not compute.
I see what you're saying, but it reminds me of, I don't know if I'm saying this. Is it Rao's, the pasta sauce?
Ragu?
No, RAO.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, so this is a pasta sauce that I guess was like, there's a restaurant in New York, and they would sell their pasta sauce. It became this huge hit. So then they started bottling it, but like really small batches because they were tiny. And people would spend all this money to get this pasta sauce, tomato sauce, or whatever. And everyone would say, "Oh my god, this is delicious. This is legit homemade pasta sauce. It's so fucking amazing." And then a big company bought them, and I guess they've tweaked it enough to make it commercially viable that people are like, yeah, it's still good and it's still the best pasta sauce you can buy, right? But it's not as good as it was, you know? And I think that's essentially what we're seeing here is that World of Wonder is just bit by bit, little by little, taking things away that we enjoyed because they can and they will. Because at the end of the day,
Shrinkflation of Drag Race.
It's you know what? It's the shrinkflation of Drag Race, Robert.
Oh,
That's
I'm
what it
calling my
is.
accountant. Ugh.
It's the shrinkflation of Drag Race. You nailed it. This is why we have Robert Mata on the air. He comes up with original terms like this.
I didn't
Okay.
come up with the concept of shrinkflation.
Robert created it. Everyone knows he's an
I
economist.
should have, because I knew that the Mike and Ike's boxes were getting smaller long before anyone else realized. I was like, this is something's up.
So, for those of you who bitch and complain that all Robert does is talk about how he went to Stanford, this is what
I
a
never
Stanford
once said it.
education brings to the show, right? Is this kind of insight, the shrinkflation of Drag Race.
Could you imagine if the way that we met meant that you never knew that I was connected to that school? You would have never known, because it has never come out of my mouth once.
So that is a great concept. I really like it. And this is what we're seeing. Now, look, but here's the deal, too. I was actually thinking about this in the car today. Could we, look, you can make, and for me personally, season 6 is my favorite season. Season 5 is a close second. No.
Good choices.
All Stars
Good
2 is a
choices.
close second. Then
Good
season
choices.
5. Okay?
What if you're like, oh, season
I
14 is my comfort season? I'd be like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? You must
But
exist in discomfort.
I will say that in terms of the whole package of everything, the greatest hits, the this, the that, the finale, this, you can't top season 9. You can't.
It does have really everything.
It does.
I have high regard for season 9 for sure. Or I hold 9 in high regard since it's a grammar day. It is not my favorite season, but goddamn, did that season give me a gift, and that gift is named Valentina.
Yes. No. I'm saying season 9, I don't even know where it falls in my favorite seasons. But I'm talking about in terms of World of Wonder firing on all cylinders in terms of casting and production, the finale, the reunion, everything. It's been downhill from there. We've talked about this, we've talked about, hold on, I gotta clear my throat.
Get some water, girl. You're dying on me.
We've talked about this. I still haven't decided because, we hear the term jump the shark a lot, but what jump the shark means is not that precise moment was a terrible moment for the show, but it's the show goes downhill from there. And I still can't decide whether it's the Sasha and the Roses, or the Butterflies. I'm talking about only about the show, because All Stars is a whole different situation. But and I still can't decide. But they're very close. They're one season apart. But the Butterflies or the Sasha Velour Rose thing, it's all downhill from there. And so I could see whether, do you think that they're maybe just like, we're just going to skate on this until RuPaul finally gives it up?
I wonder. There's definitely no clear successor. They haven't laid the groundwork for any of that. But at the same time, and you've said this several times in the last couple of weeks, World of Wonder is a tiny production company with only one hit. So all these people aren't going to give up their career just because one day Rue wakes up and says, I'd rather go frolic in a field of daisies than go to Silmar and film in this cold ass set in my sweatpants all day.
No, I think, I have the same feeling about Drag Race as I do about Saturday Night Live. Is once Lorne Michaels either dies or passes the torch, there may be a rough couple of years as it tries to find its footing, but SNL will eventually be a much better, maybe once again, culturally relevant television show. Because I think Lorne Michaels is what's holding it back. We have an 80-year-old who's trying to decide what's culturally relevant.
They just announced a British version.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that was my reaction. SNL's only ability, like the only thing that keeps it afloat is its persistence and insistence that it should be remaining afloat. That's it.
Yeah, that is an institution.
And the musical guests.
Yeah. If you watch early SNL, very early, like the first 5 seasons, they didn't have digital shorts, but they had shorts. And the shorts made up a bigger portion of the show than they do now. And maybe we'll see something that goes to a much more digital short thing. Also, what you saw, too, was the hosts weren't in every sketch. They might be in a couple, but for the most part, the hosts came in and out here and there. But the cast members did the sketches themselves. It somehow evolved. But what I'm going to say is it could be like Drag Race. I mean, Drag Race might be the same way, that once RuPaul passes the torch or whatever, I think there might be a couple of years or two where trying to find itself, but then eventually I think Drag Race is a different one. I don't know if it's as much of an institution.
It's still trying to find itself. It's been trying to find itself constantly over the last 10-ish years.
Yeah, but
it had a formula that was working.
These weird rules that RuPaul has, I think, are holding it back. Like, why aren't there drag queens on the panel? Why aren't there drag queens who are essentially coaches? And I think we can see all that once RuPaul gives up the reins, or anybody at World of Wonder. But what I'm saying though is, I can also see a world where it just dies, because Amazing Race was on recently, or I saw it. Or I don't know what that was. Amazing Race was my brain. And I was like, thank God they never did like a drag version of Amazing Race, where like that drag, it was the Amazing Race full of drag queens. And it got me to thinking like, oh, well, that moment has passed, because the whole putting drag queens and everything, like it's
Great British Bake Off or something.
Or there's always like a food of the moment. There's always a thing like everyone's putting sriracha and something like that.
Avocados on everything.
Yeah. So the moment where that was drag queens is over. People are just so done. They're not putting drag queens in every fucking goddamn thing. And so
Well, it's not
Race
politically
exists
expedient anymore, so.
That's true too. But even then, before, people were like, that's the thing. If the right was up on arms about drag queen story hours, I'm like, they would have just let it die. It would have just died, right? And
Sorry, I cut you off. You're talking about drag queens being the avocados of the moment for everything.
Well, and the moment has passed, and so I think Drag Race exists, but I think in terms of itself in the sort of like stranglehold it had on the zeitgeist has sort of waned. So I don't even know if it could survive RuPaul leaving once the figurative head is cut off.
And it's all Global All-Stars' fault.
Oh, you think so?
No, not at all. But I was thinking there's like been some kerfuffle on Reddit about like Thorgy brought up some story about how Alyssa Edwards was deeply unprofessional. So the thread just turned into all like anti-Alyssa Edwards professionalism stories, which led me into thinking about the Global All-Stars concept. And then that led me into thinking, well, she's a Texan drag queen who she really is a dance teacher first and a drag queen second. And at first she was keeping her drag persona separate from her dancing career because she lived in Texas and worked in Texas. And again, that was not politically expedient to her market. But then, I don't know, like people found out about her drag persona, the parents of the kids she was teaching. And according to her, they lived. So I would have thought that Alyssa Edwards being the bridge between those two very different groups, I don't know, could have done a little bit more with her Global All-Stars crown, if you would. Not that I would ever trust Alyssa Edwards with anything politically sensitive. Her COVID dinners come to mind. And I'm sure really just God knows what's going on in that head. That doesn't have to do immediately with Alyssa Edwards. But I don't know, just a lost opportunity there, I guess.
But I think in a very classic pageant
Wasted.
style, Alyssa doesn't care about the reign. I mean, look at her original reign as whatever she had, right? That Coco took from her.
Miss US of A, I think it was.
Yeah, Miss US of A.
Miss
The
Gay
reason
America,
she lost it,
one of them.
Miss Gay America, whatever it was. The reason she lost the title wasn't for any kind of scandal. It's she couldn't show up to the event. She couldn't handle the contractual side of doing that title for the next year. She was late. She wouldn't show up. She would flake, do all that. So they were like, well, fuck you. We're going to give it to Coco Montrese. And because it's never, for those people like Alyssa Edwards, it's not about what the title means. It's just about getting the crown and putting it on your mantle and moving on.
Yeah.
It's just another notch in the belt. And I don't think Sam Starr is any different.
I agree, which is why the streets of West Hollywood were quiet when her name was called out.
Well, because I think even as much as we hate West Hollywood and West Hollywood gays and all that, is maybe game knows game, and they know a fake white queen that's hollow on the inside more than anybody. But I think everyone can see for what it's worth. You know, Alyssa Edwards is not different, but Alyssa Edwards gives us moments by just who she is. But Sam's not giving us any of this.
No, but I did appreciate Sam's single confessional where she said that she was pitying something, and she said it was like one of those rundown dogs that it's sad, but you just have to shoot him in the head. Yeah, that was my favorite Sam Starr moment from this season, which is more favorite moments than I had from Alyssa Edwards in Global All-Stars. Tell me one thing she did during that whole damn season.
I don't remember.
It's like trying to find something interesting or fun that T.S. Madison has said on the panel of Drag Race. Nothing.
The best thing to come out of Global All-Stars was, who was that queen that I like from Germany, but she's not really German?
Tessa Testicle from Switzerland.
Yeah, I liked her.
Or
Someone
Austria.
posted her masturbating on Discord.
Oh.
Yeah.
With her
I think
teeth
it's
out?
Larry Flicks. Huh?
With her gap teeth. Like her goon face must be... Remember we had that conversation with Christian about his gap teeth?
Oh, yeah, we did. We had it privately, and I remember I said something about it. I never noticed it. I've never noticed it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we actually
We're
said we're not going to
lip
talk.
syncs at all.
Oh, yeah. Jimmy thoughts about the lip sync. We did talk about Drag Race, though, for this whole time.
We did talk about the concept of Drag Race, indeed. Yes. Less on the show itself. I guess I just wanted to give a round of applause for Suzanne. The lip syncs were whatever, though her pulling out the stinky leg did give me a good chuckle. That's for sure. Yep. There's like 3 people in that applause.
Yeah, I know.
But anyways, I thought that her walking in as a Chola clown, which later I watched her look and decided, nah, she's probably not doing an homage to Cholas, but it certainly looks like it. I think it was more of a Rosie the Riveter, like biker chick thing that she was mixing up with her clown, but I felt represented by the Cholas concept, so I'm going to stick with that. I I just loved it. I loved everything that Susie did this episode. I was having a good time with this.
She did a
slightly
good job.
grown character.
Did
Although
you
I will
think
say,
the right-
for the most part, her lip sync to "We Found Love," which is a song that I've been waiting for forever. You know, because clearly I haven't talked enough about myself this episode. "We Found Love" was the song when I first started going out to gay bars as a baby. So
Did you
like,
find love?
it was the song that brought the whole club literally together. Like we'd all dance together to it. And there's really not been a song that brought the club together like that since. But the lip sync was horrible. It was terrible. Granted, it's not a very easy song to lip sync to. So I forgive you, Suzanne. It's okay.
You didn't answer my question whether you found love.
In a somewhat hopeful place, actually.
Okay.
Love's a strong word. Give me some more time.
Oh, you're talking about Nick. I was talking about at the time when you were a baby queen.
Oh,
Or baby drag
I
queen, baby gay.
found some smooches. Yeah, Stage 48. Yeah. Trigger in the Castro.
Very
Was
good.
it Stage 48? No, I'm thinking of Club XL, actually.
Walk down memory lane with Robert.
I know.
All right, what do you got going on in the
I
next-
easily go here.
Are you ready for the big finale next week?
Well, I wish I was going to be watching the Oscar Night of Drag, like I said. I'll watch whatever it is, you know. We'll see. Anya better win. That's all I know.
I mean, I don't see. Nathan seems to be pulling for this Jules Sparkle, which is good for him, but I kind of think it's Anya's to lose, if I'm not wrong.
I think so. I think that Jules is lovely. I've loved her energy all season. I just don't think there's, which is shocking considering her tumor and the tragedy story that she gave us in the makeover, but there's not a lot of depth there. She's an airhead and kind of vapid. So
right.
Where's the winner?
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
This podcast is sponsored by IQ Bar.
I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.